Okay, thanks for everyone for being here this evening, and please mute or turn off your cell phones, and please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, again, thanks for appearing tonight at our meeting, Yankton County, August 19th meeting and county commission meeting, starting at 6 o'clock this evening. Patty, would you please call the roll?
Wanda,
Here.
Here.
Dan,
Here.
Don,
Here.
John.
Here. I would need, any commissioners have anything for financial conflict of interest?
I would abstain from the Hermelink plat in an overabundance of caution.
I don't have, I have no conflicts.
I have no conflicts, Kettering.
I have no conflicts.
I have none. At this time, is there any changes? We're gonna scratch item number 15 from the agenda. Tyler, you want to explain?
Yeah, we're just waiting to get in contact with alternative HR to draft a policy to put in the handbook. Once that's drafted and completed, we'll submit it for your approval.
Okay,
I would move to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
motion by Wanda, second by Don to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now's the time for public comment. Public comment is a time for persons to address this body on any subject. No action may be taken on a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an item upon which action will be taken. Each person has up to 3 minutes to speak. There shall be no personal attacks against members of this body, county staff, individual, or organizations. The chair has the authority to enforce this policy. Failure to adhere to these rules may result in forfeiture of the remaining speaking time. Per county policy, the Yankton County Commissioners will not engage in conversation or make statements during public comment. Are there any public comment? Seeing none, public comment is closed. We are a few minutes ahead of schedule, but Mike is here for the surplus road item number 5 on the agenda, surplus road millings.
Yep, it's like last time I was up here, we have the 3 miles of millings, north of Lesterville there, stockpile at a location by Lesterville there, to get rid of. Just gonna
We gotta declare them surplus.
declare them surplus so we can put it out to bid, sell the pile.
And this is what you talked about last meeting, but we couldn't vote on because it wasn't on the agenda.
Correct.
Yes.
Make a motion to surplus the road millings.
Second.
Got a motion by Dan, second by Wanda to surplus the road millings from the stockpile sitting near Lesterville. Any further discussion on that?
They're gonna be via newspaper and
Right.
bids.
Yeah.
All in favor, aye.
I
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
I would move to approve claims, item 17.
why are we
We don't-
skipping ahead?
this is not an advertised, the next one, so we can keep going.
Oh, we can? Okay. Then I'll withdraw that motion.
Okay. Is Preston here?
Yep.
Oh, stuck in on me. Preston. You were.
Sneaky.
Yeah. They have to put clips on the bottom of your shoes.
Well, good evening, Commission. I think I'm on the agenda here for, I think there's 2 items here, surplus of vans. We'll do the first one if that's all right. Will that work? Okay. We got 2 vans for surplus. These are we've got the new transport vans in and they're already up and running. Some of you guys have already ridden in them on a trip, not to the jail or anything, but if you guys are willing to, you can stop at the sheriff's office. We'll show it to you. They're pretty neat. And it's got a lot of room, so.
Sheriff, how many miles are on the ones where, just so the public knows how many miles are on the ones we're surplusing?
Okay, so vehicle number 10, this is VIN number 1 George Adam William George Frank 2 Henry 1107585. This one has an odometer reading, I believe. They have that one on. Was 181,390 miles. That's a 2017. So we got the life expectancy out of that one for sure.
Yeah.
So I asked the commission to surplus. It's a Chevy transport van. Just surplus this one on probably Purple Wave, if that's all right. And I'll give you a copy of the thing. And then the second van, this is our vehicle number 12. This is VIN number 2 Charles 4 Robert David George Boy George 9 King Robert 740590. This one had a little bit more miles from the last time. It's 183,930. This is a 2019 Dodge Caravan transport van. This one I would like to surplus to the State's Attorney's Office. I don't think there's much that we have to do. I just wanted to be in the agenda
Okay.
because we're all under the same insurance now. And so I would just talk to Patty V at the Treasurer's Office and we just transfer it over.
That would be for the use for the juvenile
Mhm.
diversion program.
Yep. And it's actually the exact same van that they use in their pilot program. So.
Okay.
Let's just make a motion to transfer it to the state's attorney's office.
Okay.
I would make a motion to transfer it to the state's attorney's office, vehicle number 12.
Second.
Got a motion by Wanda, second by Dan, to transfer the vehicle number 12 from the sheriff's office to the state's attorney's office for juvenile
Collection.
collections.
Now,
Oh.
I do have a question, however, can that vehicle, even though it's in the state's under the state's attorney's umbrella, can that still be on your maintenance regimen?
Yeah, we can still maintain it. If you want to just, we can just keep it in our fleet. And then we just keep it on rotation. I think we already have tires because we buy tires at the beginning of the year on the state bid. So we already have brand new tires and I think it got changed and we even recharged the air conditioner for you, Tyler, so.
Which will be very handy picking up children in the winter.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And it's been actually a solid van. We got the records, record keeping of when we bought it, all the tire rotation, oil changes, so.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
We got to surplus the other 2. Is it these?
Just one more for right now.
Number 10.
I will have
The
some-
number 10.
Yeah, I will have some other vehicles to surplus down the road, but these we just want to get out, so. I mean, we'll still keep the other one, but just to keep it on our maintenance or whatnot. So I just need a motion to surplus vehicle number 10 on the Purple Wave.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Dan, second by Wanda, to surplus vehicle number 10 from the sheriff's department to post out for sale on Purple Wave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
All right, I think the second thing was for the quarterly jail report. I was gone at the time, so I think you guys should have gotten April, May, and June. If you guys have any questions about anything specific, but if you go to the June report. I think it's, I don't know if you got a copy of it. Or not.
June 30th, 2025. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. I think as of right now, as of June, but obviously, we got July and August, but at the end of the June, we were at $737,730 from the U.S. Marshal Service. As our income. Obviously, it's a supplement to our jail budget, but I wanted to point that out. Also for transports, we're at $45,000 for the year. That's up to June. Obviously, it's gotten more since then. But I know for 24/7 and Scram, that program is self-funded by the state. Obviously, we have to supply the employee, but it keeps people out of jail and they don't lose their jobs. But we recouped in June up to $58,576 for that program as well. But
24/7 in Scram, it's the same
Yep.
program.
so the people that are on 24/7, it's a self-funded thing where the courts make them pay it. So it just goes back into the general fund. But I just wanted to kind of point out a few of those things. And obviously it's, we got July and August.
So I got a question, and maybe this is actually maybe for Tyler, but so court-appointed attorneys, the courts make these people pay those fines. So why doesn't the courts make the court-appointed attorneys, the people that get court-appointed attorneys pay their bill also?
They
a
do
question.
order them to pay their bill. However, 24/7 is for people to stay out of jail. They either can have the Scram bracelet, the mandatory drug patch, or they can blow into the kiosk that's outside the sheriff's office. And it used to be $1 a blow. Now I think it's $2 a blow, but I could be wrong. And
I
they
think
pay a week in advance.
Yeah, it's still $1, I believe. It's just the morning and night. So that's where the $2 probably come from.
But they pay a week in advance.
Yeah.
But nobody forces the court-appointed, the people that get court-appointed attorneys to pay their bill either, so.
Yeah.
Well, it is a condition of their sentence and they're supposed to do it, but they're not supposed to kill people, rape people, burglarize, or do drugs either, so.
I get it.
And I would like to point out too, I wrote down our current jail numbers from today. Obviously the jail can house up to about 120. We're at 105 for the day. We had 2 probation holds, 1 out of state. Obviously that's somebody that wanted to come here on vacation and they'll leave back on probation, I'm sure. South Dakota Highway Patrol, they had 1. For marshal holds, we're holding 40. Yankton County, we have 39 ourselves, and then the Yankton Police Department, they have up to 22. So that's where we came up with the 105. But the 24/7 program helps alleviate some of that to keep people employed so they're not losing their jobs. And
Are we seeing any number, any increase in, people that are just awaiting to go to state prison that have been sentenced? And
it's a good thing you brought that up. I had
okay.
an issue in the jail. There was a parolee that was just on a parole hold, and she was waiting to go to a female prison. And she wanted us to give Suboxone to her while she stayed at our facility, and I said no at the time. And so there's other facilities that do administer Suboxone, which is it's a drug that's prescribed to an individual, and they can take that to help relieve their cravings for maybe methamphetamine or whatnot. So
Yeah. Well, and the reason I bring that up, and I think it's important for the citizens to realize, we all hope a state prison gets built with the special session, but if it doesn't, what Stacy Ackerman is the Sheriff's Association manager says is we're going to see a big backup of people who should be going to prison, but then they're staying in our jail on costing us. So that 700,000 revenue that we're getting with marshals, we're going to see that go down and down. And what we get from the state is maybe we break even or even lose money. We'll probably lose money. So it's a further burden on county dollars and property tax dollars if the state doesn't get this prison built.
And the way the state does it is they pass it in statute. So we can only recoup up to $95 a day for the Department of Correction holds. And majority of the time, they won't put the hold on unless we had a local charge on them. And in most cases, they shouldn't have been out in the first place, and so they get local charges anyways, and the county still gets
Yep.
stuck with the bill, so.
Or the court will put them on probation, so they're not in prison or into county jail, so.
Yeah.
Move approval of the sheriff's quarterly report.
Second,
Got a motion by Dan, second by Wanda to approve the sheriff's second quarter report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, Sheriff.
And
Make
that-
sure you tell your
Preston.
team, how much we appreciate what they do.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you. I always do.
can we do Board of Adjustment if we're early?
I think so, Kent and Gary.
I don't think, is it advertised? If it's
Move ahead.
with Board of Adjustment?
It's a just
Oh,
the discussion.
it's- Is it a hearing that we gotta,
It's not a hearing.
okay,
Do we move to go into Board of Adjustment?
Yes.
So moved.
I have a
Second.
motion by Wanda, second by Ryan to move into Board of Adjustment for a report from Gary.
Good evening.
Let me vote first.
Okay,
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
after investigating a zoning violation request from Rich Velick, it's my opinion that I understand there are issues that need attention, but I don't feel it justifies revocation of the conditional use. The motion stated only with the condition that the road haul agreement is held in good standing, which it is. Restriction on using Jake brake not to be used coming from the east to get into the gravel pit, turning onto 304th, which has been stated a number of times as not being an issue in these meetings. And with a sunset date of September 30th, 2025. There's been no information on whether it was Central Specialty vehicles and drivers or other trucks that were in violation. Their staff is aware of the concerns. In regards to the flag people requirements, I was told that since there is a stop sign that should be obeyed, that a decision was made by the applicants and state to not have flag people. We all want to keep citizens safe. We've installed a camera from EMS to monitor the activity from here on out. So we're not expecting any more Central Specialties activity for the next, probably another week or two at least, but it's scheduled to start again in 2 to 3 weeks. So with that, Shane with Central Specialties is online to answer any other questions, and Cheryl Chrissy is here to report also.
do we need to drop this down for him? Is he on Zoom or what is?
I can hear you. Good evening.
Evening. Do we want Sheriff's got some comments that he would like to make also.
Yeah, so, obviously I've talked to Mr. Velick, a number of times on some of the issues with the stop sign violation. I know we talked about the noise ordinance, but we don't have any jurisdiction on that specifically. Moving forward, if we know a date and or like the date and times of when people are moving or when it's gonna start picking up again, just let our dispatch center know so then that we can start a call for service, and then those deputies can always tie back to that one specific call for service, and then we could document, if there's any violations. And so I know that Captain Meyer came in and spoke on my behalf when I was gone. We did issue a citation for a stop sign violation. I do wish that we could post somebody out there 24/7. It's just very hard with personnel and then covering shifts and serving civils and serving warrants and arresting people and all that good stuff. But if Mr. Velick would like to, or when those do arise, we can definitely send a deputy back out there and sit on the intersection and observe some of those violations. Now, when a marked unit is sitting there, it is a really tough intersection. I don't think anybody disputes that. And so safety is a priority for the citizens and people that are even driving out of there, I think that, that's an issue there. But I talked to Miles Warren. I know I talked to Gary. We could look at getting a camera because we also have other complaints in other parts of the county. So I did talk to Miles Warren about getting like a pole cam. I think emergency management, like you just said. Yeah. But down the road, if that's something that the sheriff's office, if we have a complaint, we can post a camera somewhere. We can work with the state's attorney's office on prosecution. Because we do have like school bus violations where people bypass the stop sign. Well, a deputy may not be present for it, but that video camera footage is collected by the deputy and sent over with a probable cause affidavit. So, but the hard part is identifying who the driver is. And then state statute for the school bus violations, for example, the state's attorney's office can actually put a civil lien on the vehicle. But it's not in statute for anything else for running a stop sign. So that's not in state law, but that was some talking points that we had about maybe getting a pole cam. I know emergency management has one already, but
Is that portable or?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I can always talk to Paul, Paul too, about just utilizing that pole.
Cause there are, I would agree with you, there are certain intersections or certain roads that we tend to get the majority of the complaints on.
Yeah.
So,
And then it'd just be easier for the sheriff's office. We get the complaint, we can, transport the pole. Camera footage would be collected, and so it's wirelessly. The one I was talking about with Miles Warren is that it's wirelessly connected. So let's just say somebody tries to steal our pole cam. Well, it's in the cloud, and so we have some documentation that they try to steal it or whatnot, but.
would that do speed as well, or would it just do?
Nope. I was looking at speed trailers when I took over, on the highway safety grants. The cost has surpassed what the state on the highway safety grant even pays.
Mhm.
And I had some other bigger needs that I wanted to get, established as the sheriff, but not opposed, to getting a speed trailer as well. And maybe there's a speed trailer out there with a camera that we could, purchase as the county,
Would that be that trailer you're talking about? Would that be like the snitch that the city has?
Yep, snitching, yep. So I mean, that's a possibility too, but I mean, if we do have some complaints coming up again, or where we have heavy traffic, just please call and then we'll send a deputy out there. I've sent a deputy. It wasn't even documented when Captain Meyer came in. But I had a undercover detective in an unmarked car, so it wasn't as noticeable, and they sat there for a little while and didn't see anything, but it could be the time frames of when they're hauling stuff out. So let's just work together and try to get that figured out. I told the deputies issue the citations. And I think one of them talked to the one of the head honchos out there, and then like I said, we did issue a citation for stop sign violation. So that did occur in front of a deputy, and I don't know if it's already been pled out or not. It's a misdemeanor, so Tyler wouldn't know either. It'd be probably Deb. But let's work together and we can get it done. And like I said, maybe there's a speed board that's got a camera that we can purchase at the county, but that would not be budgeted, but something to consider for future issues.
Okay. Thanks. Shane, do you have anything to add to this conversation?
Not particularly. Sheriff, when I get the schedule in here that we're sending trucks down there, I can try to let your dispatch know. I know we've been hauling rock starting today. Not our trucks personally, but we have a few rentals. All of them have been talked to and told that this is a big issue. Our drivers, at their latest safety meeting of the drivers that will be actually there on site, have been notified that we will take action, and the sheriff's office would be sitting in the area periodically. So that usually makes a big difference. The road should have been chlorided today to take care of the dust issues that I'm sure we're going to mention here in a little bit. Like we had said before, our trucks hadn't been there yet during these complaints. So we don't know what that is, but we've also, I just want to mention about the Jake brakes. So far on 2 of our jobs, we have, a lot of the counties have the same requests when we come in. And we've gotten 2 letters approving of the fact that we do not use Jake brakes like other counties or like other companies. So that's a positive for us too. So if there's any issues, any of you guys, you can get my phone number from Gary or Bill and just call me directly and I can head it off right away.
Is his name Shane?
Shane, state your last names for the minutes.
Right, I'm Shane Carlberg, safety manager for Central Specialties.
And Shane, this is Dan Clemish, County Commissioner, and I hope you understand how important the safety of our citizens are, and if you have people that work for you or subcontractors, it's important that you are obeying our laws and not putting our residents and citizens at risk. It's just, I hope you guys realize it. To me, at least, it's unacceptable if your people are running stop signs and not following our rules. And so, yeah, I hope you take the time and reiterate it to your people and whoever else you subcontract and hire it, because we are going to be watching.
And this is Sheriff Christie again, and just to let you know, the deputies have been notified that it's a 0 tolerance thing and they will be issued citations from the deputies moving forward, so.
No, that's perfect. I was Todd County deputy for 14 years, so, or between police and deputy, so I'm all about giving the tickets out to the guys that've been warned, they've been talked to, and if we see it, we'll deal with it on our end. If you guys see it, you get them, I'm all for it.
Yep, and school just started yesterday, so there's a lot of young drivers out there, and so just keep that in mind as well.
No, I agree. Just to put it out there, I'm not riding in every truck, so I can't personally guarantee all the people aren't breaking the rules, but we will handle it when it does, for sure.
Sheriff Christie, one more thing, maybe just something to consider is I know that there's like Amazon has got those in-car cameras. Have you ever thought about installing those in the semis to maybe hold some of those guys accountable and just periodically checking?
Yeah, so with a big fleet of our vehicles, the Amazon cameras aren't the best answer because it's all controlled from inside and they can take the cards out and they can shut them off. But we have played with Samsara and Lytix. Those are 2 companies for fleet type cameras where I would have the control and they do not. Samsara was not working as we thought it would. Sheriff, if you plug your ears, I put it in my truck and rolled through a few stop signs and it didn't record it. So I reported that back to the company and so we won't be using yours.
I'm glad you were in Todd County when it happened.
That was Douglas. I won't do it over there either. But so that was a problem with those. Lytix works a little bit better. We have talked to other companies. We actually hired a few drivers from let's see, Dunnex and Knife River put the driver facing cameras, and both of them lost about 20% of their truck driver staff when they did it. So we're not quite willing or able to lose truck drivers over the inward facing cameras yet. But as of today, I purchased a number of cameras to put them in our more, I don't know, I don't want to put anybody under the bus, but our questionable drivers. Put some of those in there, and then I have some extras for people that voluntarily want to do it, but we have not mandated it yet. It's about a $60,000 budgeted item.
And then the other thing too, this is Sheriff Christie again, is that if there's an accident or whatever may occur, the sheriff's office may, ask for a subpoena to collect some of that video footage if there was an accident or if we had a complaint or something. Do a search warrant.
Yep, I made the company aware of those things too, and they didn't have any issues with it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any further conversation from the commission?
I do want to say thank you, Gary and Preston and Shane for coming together and making sure that we get this complaint handled and seeing a resolution to it. I really hope it gets better. I do thank Mr. Bellick as well as bringing this up because we do need to have good enforcement of our ordinances in order to have our ordinances followed well. And I really hope it gets better, Mr. Bellick. I really do.
You can come up if you.
And I just want to really thank you guys for doing the investigations.
Rich Bellick, 43904 304 Street, Yankton. Just wanted to ask him, who's Honor and Sons with the trains hauling in there? They're part of your business. We're talking about the extended people that are hauling stuff for you. Those, I'm not really complaining about your guys, sir. I mean, I do have one guy running a stop sign on my phone. But Honor and Sons are the ones that are absolute jerks. So I would like to know, I mean, that's on you. I mean, how do you get a hold of them and how do you control them? Because they're hauling your product. You hang up.
Is that for me?
That's for you.
Well, we haven't had anybody haul until today. So if you have a video of somebody.
So they didn't haul
hauling,
2 months ago?
I'll have to research it. Have you sent that video to us?
No, because I don't have your number. I will have it now, though. You're not gonna like me.
Okay, that's for another issue then, and we're gonna move on here. If there's any other questions.
It's the same stuff we're talking about right now.
We've already dealt with this issue and I think it's taken care of from our side of the street.
Rich, did you get the video to the sheriff that you took from, I wasn't, okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. I do have one thing though that I did want to say.
Okay, and here's the deal. I don't appreciate what you just said. So you can either leave. Okay, see ya. Goodbye. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I want to do the letter we got from the DOT that was part of the packet. In my opinion, it specifically said a flagger would be provided on 304th. And now I guess according to the state, Gary, they're saying, well, now we don't need that. I think it may be on us that we just have to put those conditions in the conditional use permit. The state decided that they didn't want to do that and because it wasn't a condition, now we can't enforce it. So I guess the alternative was we stack up the conditions when it's a safety issue so they can follow it and it's enforceable. And is that kind of your recommendation, Gary? Because you can only enforce what we put on.
Yeah, we have to be a little more careful and diligent about the motions we make. It makes it a lot harder when we don't include those type of things. I don't think it'd be in question if that would have been part of the motion. So just something to keep in mind for future.
In my opinion, the letter from the state saying they're going to do something is in my opinion.
So then we need to call Mr. Rochadel and let him know that they sent this letter and they need to provide the flag person.
So I have a question. How come it got through planning and zoning without these extra special conditions that are in the letter that they said they were going to do? Can't we just staple the letter onto the planning and zoning recommendation going forward?
If they make it part of the findings of fact or something, yeah, that would work too. But those are the kind of things we need to do and be a little more careful about and a little more diligent.
I get that, but at this point in time, I think we need to call Mr. Rochadel and say.
And we can certainly do that.
We have the letter stating that you're going to provide a flagger. and let's make sure that this happens for the rest of the project.
Sure thing.
Because, I mean, that is one of the reasons why it passed in the first
Exactly.
place.
In
Is
my opinion,
because they said, this is what we're gonna do, A, B, and C. Now they're only doing A.
I agree. And we can call Mr. Rochadel, who's in the state person that's in charge of this project. Shane,
This
did you
is
want to
Shane,
add to that?
if I can. Yeah, so I've dealt with a couple of other issues of this kind of stature that costs a significant amount of money. And if you put it in you'd have to work with the state, of course, on how to do it. But if you put it in your ordinances instead of on conditions, then the state can plan for it ahead of time and put that into their budgetary bidding estimate, so that when we bid projects, all of it's fair, so that all companies know that, okay, in this estimate, there are, flaggers required for so many intersections or certain types, so that we can budget into it in a bid appropriately. If you do it after the fact, then the bidding and the estimates from the engineers of the state and the county, it gets wishy-washy. So it's got to be put in there somewhere ahead of time, so that the state and the county, when they're doing their estimates, they can plan for it. I just wanted to throw that out there so you guys know.
Thanks for the advice, Shane.
Absolutely.
Can I get a motion to move back into regular session?
I'd move to go back into regular session.
Second.
A motion by Wanda, second by Don to move back into regular session. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mr. Tegra, you are up. I'm sorry, Tyler, you are up.
Been called first. Tyler Klatt with Tager Group. I just want to quickly set the table so you guys kind of remember where we're at. Back in May, we started with the conceptual design of a potential addition to the current jail of a facility to hold juveniles. Since May, we've been, the architect primarily have been putting together a concept that I would say is probably 90% ready for showtime for all of you to consider. Typically, when we go through these sorts of things, there's, it's typical that a project that's as recent as your current facility would have the existing site utility information. Well, with what we have now, we don't have a very comprehensive picture of what's underneath that parking lot. And as part of Journey's work to develop their conceptual budget, they need, and frankly, we do need, and it would help the county as well long term, even if this project doesn't go forward, is understanding what's underneath that parking lot, because we do know there's some easements, but we don't know what's in there, if it's still there, if it got removed during previous construction. So what we've got for you tonight to consider is first to hire a site utility survey company. We got 3 proposals from AE2S, Stockwell, and Banner. They were all competitive in terms of schedule, price. AE2S was the low on that. I would point out that in conversations, we had to extend the scope of where they were going to be surveying. So they said they would do it for a flat $10,000. I think right in the proposal was 94 something. So they would propose it at that. So that's the first, I think that's in order on the agenda first. And then the second would be to do a phase 1 environmental study to kind of get a full background check on that site and understand what's underneath there. And in terms of, the value of that too, if there were to be a bond issuance for this project, the bonding agent would want to see that information to know and be able to market those bonds as effectively as possible. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about that or kind of the process of how we've got to this point too, but that's what we've got for you tonight.
I guess just for the rest of the commission, we, back in May, like you had stated, we did authorize $50,000 for this conceptual study. With these 2 proposals that we're proposing tonight, we're gonna probably go over that budget by a couple $2,500.
$3,400.
$3,400. So with the 2 proposals that Tegra is presenting to us this evening, the total project to this point, not to this point, I should say, but to the conceptual drawing and feasibility study is gonna cost us $53,400 versus 50,000.
I thought it, when we approved it, that's what it was. And I mean, if you went over budget, I mean, isn't that kind of on you to do that?
Typically, we set that budget to hire the architecture firm and the construction
Okay.
team. The construction team Journey isn't charging for this concept phase.
Mm.
And then, you know, if the project progresses, then we'll have contract with them in a different sense. The kind of issue we've run into is we don't have good drawings on what's underneath the ground, and that was an unknown when we set the project up.
Isn't it still gonna be unknown since the only way to really find out what's there is to dig it up?
To an extent, but this will give us an understanding of what's underneath the ground and where it's routed.
Well, if there's an easement, doesn't it say where it's underneath the ground?
It does, but we don't know for sure if it's there, is the short of it.
And Brad, do you know anything about what we're talking about at this point in time? Okay,
So is that a no? Or is that a no comment?
and the city does not know at this point in time for sure, well, for 100% sure.
Brad Bees, Community and Economic Development Director, City of Yankton. I think we've provided any documentation we have, all of the plans, plan sets, easements, all the stuff that might have helped with that. I think we've provided everything everything that's been possible, everything we have.
Tyler, you said you're about 90%.
Yeah.
Done. And, you know, and I appreciate that. And I voted to look into this, but in my opinion too, I think the situation has certainly changed with our budget. And, you know, quite frankly, I'm not sure how we can even afford a facility like this based on our financial situation moving forward. I mean,
Well, here's the deal. We've already spent $50,000 to find out if it's feasible to do this.
Mm.
And if we shut it off for $3,400, if we turn it off right now, that means that we've just wasted $50,000.
Well, I don't know if we necessarily would have wasted it because, you know, a lot of the specs and what we're gonna need is there for the future use. It's just, you know, looking at our budget, which I think we still need to discuss, and, you know, we're sitting at this year about $4 million over. This
We
would
don't
be
know
about-
that for a fact right at this point in time.
I mean, I guess I'd ask the question, and you can raise your hand, who is willing to do a bond or an opt-out to pay for this facility? And unless we have 4 of us that will raise their hand and do that, there's no way this is gonna get built. And I think the information we've gathered to this point is great, and it could be used a few years down the road. I think the likelihood that we're gonna move forward on this is not there right now. And in the future, when conditions change, yeah, we can have this information and then move it forward, but I just don't see a path. That's my opinion.
I just want to explain that, I know we just got a letter, from Minnehaha County again. So right now we pay $500 a night for juveniles. In 2026, it's gonna go up to $550. So it's $50 more now, starting in 2026. And then the building isn't completed in Sioux Falls yet. So I just wanted to speak on that part of it, that the cost is always gonna go up. And I agree with you that when it was 50, it was 50, but, they don't know what's in the ground, I guess. And, back when our forefathers had to get it all together, you know, we went downstairs, I looked for blueprints, I provided that to the architect firm and, Journey. And, so I just want to make mention that it's going to go up another $50 in 2026. And so that's where we're at, I guess. It's just going to keep going up.
I don't think that we can sit here tonight and say that this $3,400 is going to say that we're going to build or we're not going to build that facility. I think that we need to have this information to get to the point where we even think about proposing it to the citizens of Yankton County to, if we want to continue sending $400,000 a year to Minnehaha County, or if we want to start working on a project that is going to bring some of that money back to Yankton County. And I think we have to look at what are these 5 seats up here decided to do 20 years ago and build a jail that is generating now in 6 months out of the year, generating 700 and whatever $1,000 to move forward. And if, you know, I'm not saying that this $3,400 is going to convince us to build this facility, but at least we're going to know for the future. And eventually, if we do build it, we're still going to have to spend the $10,000 or whatever it is to find out what's underneath of that parking lot.
I could add 2 things. To your point, 50,000, 50,000. 100% agree. And this isn't, you know, it's not my money to spend, so I understand 100%. The spending this money now to get a more refined concept budget will pay dividends if this project were to move forward, because without that information, you start digging and all of a sudden there's who knows what underneath, and that causes delays and problems that way too.
So you're asking tonight for us to choose a vendor. It's either gonna be 9,476. And then the 3,400 is what has been spent above the 50,000. Am I correct?
That would be the overage, right?
So where's the overage is 3,400, and then to choose a vendor, they range from 9,400 to 1,200 or 12,000, correct?
Yeah, if you select the
That's
low,
where I was.
if you select the low, it's 3,400.
Yeah.
And then I would point out, we can absolutely get to a concept budget by not doing this. I don't want to say you can't get what you are asking for that way. Just know that there'll be a caveat in that says, we don't know for certain what's underneath. We probably have a contingency in our project budget to cover site utility work.
That presupposes we build.
100%, yeah.
And if we decide to build in the future, we could always do this at a later point as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At a higher cost.
Well,
More than likely.
yeah,
but true.
everything's going up. I guess, you know, everybody's making valid points. I don't see how, you know, we're gonna be able to pay to build this. So.
And the other thing to maybe consider here is that when this is all completed and figured out, maybe we don't do the addition on and the safety center's paid off at the end of the year. And maybe we look at the internal part of the building and revamping inside of there too. I don't think if we don't try something and just at least figure out what our forefathers did, you know, when they built the safety center, I don't think we're doing a due diligence of planning for the future, but you know, and then also right now we have like 40 marshals being held in there. So with the Clay County jail being built, who knows, maybe they take some of those marshals from us and they goes over to Clay County. I have no idea. But if that's the case, then maybe in this particular part, we wouldn't do an addition. We'd revamp inside the safety center to help accommodate just the juveniles that we would have here. You know, that's just something to consider.
Isn't it a safe bet that when Clay County built their building and made their projections, they projected to have some marshal holds?
I would agree that they overbuilt theirs for the need what they're gonna have. I know that they do house a lot for Turner County. Union County is gonna take a hit because a lot of Clay County inmates were going over to Union County, but Union County is also now seeking US Marshals to hold too. Now their facility is not as big as ours, and I think we have a really good relationship with the Marshal Service. But with the current presidential administration, I don't think there's going to be a lacking of US Marshals, but that's only 3.5 more years, I guess. But so I was just thinking, you know, just even if this doesn't go through, maybe you downgrade on some of the current space that we have and we revitalize part of the jail for the juvenile holds. I only brought it up when I first took office because the previous administration didn't have the issues that we're having today where they just keep adding onto the price tag for juvenile holds. And so that was really the only reason why this even got brought up, and for them to add another $50 per juvenile next year is pretty significant, I would say. So.
Is this geotech environmental study, is that in addition to the other fees, or?
I'm gonna go with like Brad. You can
Yeah.
answer that question, Tyler.
So yes, there's two different scopes of work that we're looking at
Okay.
considering. First is the site utility survey.
So the lowest price is what, the 9,400, and then you're also looking at a geotech fee of
4,900.
3,900 plus then the 3,400 that was overspent.
No, so if the commission were to select both geotech and AE2S, your total project spend for the concept study would be 53.4.
Okay, what does the geotech do that the other survey is not gonna do?
So the phase one environmental is sort of a background check on a site. What they'll
Okay.
do is sort of find kind of the best historian of the site, whether that's the auditor's office, register of deeds. They'll go through documents, understand whether there were any fuel tank spills in the past. Actually, when I reached out to geotech, they did a little background digging, and there's been 2 different instances of fuel tanks that have spilled at the facility since it was built. So they do a background check on that, and that's really to help, if this were a private project, that would help secure loan funding. It's a public project that helps with bond financing.
So you're saying that these people go upstairs to the Register of Deeds and look at the public records that anybody could look at to say whether or not there's been a fuel tank spillage. Now, if there wasn't a fuel tank spillage on record and there was a fuel tank spillage, what difference does it make?
It changes how you do soil corrections if there were to be a project. Changes how much.
I get that, but if nobody reported this super secret fuel spillage, you wouldn't know anyway, would you?
Yeah, if that were the case.
Could we have our own people just review? I mean, we got the Register of Deeds here. Would you, I hate to put you on the spot, couldn't we just have our own people? I mean, Brian knows his system better than anybody in the state. If somebody's gonna find it, be him, and we could save the county $4,000, right? $4,900 right there.
I think to get to a concept budget, if you didn't
Mhm.
want to proceed with that, I think you could live with that.
Okay.
Because there's it's a long way to go before you decide
Yeah.
if you want to pass something
Well,
on.
every penny counts. So.
So what's gonna end up happening is we can turn this $14,000 addition down, basically. It's gonna still cost us $35,000 to get the conceptual drawing done. And then Journey's gonna come in and say, well, we're gonna give you this number, but we're gonna add $50,000 onto that number because we don't know what's under the ground right now.
Sure.
Is what they're telling me and Preston in the meetings, what's gonna end up happening.
But as I understand it, if they know what's under the ground, they're still gonna add 50,000. So what difference
they
does it
won't.
make?
No, they won't, because they'll know what's there and it doesn't matter to me we got 5 of us here that's got to decide if we want to spend the extra $14,000 to be on top of everything. And even if we don't do it today, we have the information 5 years down the road that's there.
Would it be acceptable having our own staff review the records for any gasoline spills and submit a report?
I don't know if there are certain requirements that would make it that a certain background or credential needs to be the one that does it.
Could you find that out for us?
We can. That would delay that work though, a couple weeks. And I would
think our staff, if that was a spill, they would find it much faster than they do that every day.
Sure. I think
So-
when you all consider the sort of risk to get to this conceptual budget, if you were to exclude that phase 1 environmental study, that's your lowest risk item. I think the site utility information would be much more advantageous to understand both for this project and for your own information going forward. But keep in mind, we can get to a concept budget without it.
Without all of these?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What's a consensus of the commission? Everybody else has been fairly quiet.
Well, I guess my position would be if it is 3,400 more than the 50,000, is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
I would spend 3,400 and make the decision because we've already wasted the 50,000 if we don't do anything.
Further discussion.
Is it 34 or is it 94?
So it would be the 94 to hire AE2S and the 4,900 to hire Geotech to do the phase one.
So it's 13.
No, it's $3,400 above the 50 that we've already agreed to spend on the project. So instead of us writing out a check for $50,000, we're gonna write out a check for $53,400, and we'll have all of the information that we need to get the conceptual drawing.
Well, we may have it. We may have it. We don't know.
No, we'll have the number. I mean, the picture will be drawn for us at $53,400.
Unless
And
it
then we
wasn't
can-
reported.
And then we can make the decision. Well, if Journey knows that that's there, then that's gonna be included in the bid to fix whatever's down there.
Yeah, if it was reported. If it was not reported, they're not going to do it. They're not going to know. And then they'll go, oh, surprise, we're going to up our bid.
I don't know. That'd be a question for you guys to handle.
If during construction that they came across, what eventually would happen would be soil testing would be done to find, as they're figuring out how deep they need to put footings. That's when you typically come across, what this smells like gasoline, for example. That's a smaller risk in the grand scheme of these two options, though.
So it's the AE2S 9,476, and then the Geotech is in addition to that of 4,900.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about is, roughly 14,000 extra dollars.
Right.
So the bottom line is we have 4 days of juvenile detention to offset the increased costs finding this out. So if they get $900 a day,
$550 after January 1st or December
didn't I read
31st.
something that it was going up to $850 or $875?
When phase 2 of the juvenile detention center in Minnehaha County is done in probably 2 years, it'll be that, I'm sure.
How long was this, if we did this study, the Geotech and the AE2S, how long is that study valid for? They're not gonna make us, if we waited 5 years, they're not gonna make us do it again, are they?
No, they shouldn't, unless there was some material change that you all knew it had happened. There wouldn't be a reason to do it again.
Find some nuclear waste.
Hopefully there's
buried.
no bones.
Or Indian burial ground.
It's not impossible.
So I guess what I'm asking, or what we need to consider, is a motion to spend the extra $3,400 on the feasibility study to move forward with the conceptual drawing.
I'd make a motion to spend the extra $3,400.
Got a motion by Don. Can I get a second?
Mr. Chair, my only concern is, I don't think by saying an extra $3,400 is necessarily accurate, because the AE2S, if we choose that, is 9,476, and then the Geotech is between 4,400 and 4,900, so it'd be 14,376.
That's not where we're at. We're at 35,000 right now, as far as for where we're at. In order to
That's
get
good
this,
that we're under the 50,000.
yes, that's where we're at.
So just really quick, what is the exact amount over are we gonna be? Is it $3,400 exactly, or is it some other?
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, so the total project, like Commissioner Markor mentioned is we're trending about $35,000 total under the $50,000 budget. To do this extra work, A2S would do their work for $10,000. There was some additional added scope that we talked about between the architect and them. So I think it's 9,400 something in their proposal. They would do the bulk of it. They would do the whole works for 10 grand. And then the geotech work would be 4,900. So bringing this total project from a planned 50,000 to, was it 53,400 total. So the motion, why we're writing it, would be authorize the chair to sign an agreement with AE2S and to authorize the chair to sign an agreement with geotech.
And then we would have the cap would be $3,400 extra. It's not like $5,405 or something like that, right? Okay.
Yeah, because we don't want to come back again in 2 weeks and say, oh, it's $53,687.
Exactly.
I have a motion by Don to go to 53,400. Is that correct, Don?
I'll second.
I have a second by Ryan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries.
Dan, did you vote?
Yes, but Dan, I heard an aye.
It was an upset aye that I voted for it, and I'm not happy about it.
I don't think any of us are happy that we've spent more money than what we had anticipated, but sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah, and again, when we get these numbers, when are we projected to get the final numbers of what this facility? If
We're looking, yeah, good question. We're looking at being ready to present to you in October.
Okay.
And then we've got.
Any rough idea? Can you give us
We're
a?
trending about $6 million.
Okay.
And I've spoken with Colliers to kind of understand what would that look like as a bond, just hypothetical. Roughly about a $17 per $100,000 of assessed value.
Okay.
And a bond would be, principal and interest, probably 9 million over the course of a 20-year bond. And when we do come back with that, part of our scope of work is giving you some sort of a projection of what that does to your staffing and your costs. And I would say that trying to project out what you'll spend on juvenile justice is difficult, especially when they bump it by $50 on you like that, but it's close. So
Thank you.
look forward to that.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Gary, we got a few plots we got to decide on.
We have 3 plats tonight. First one being a plat of Angie Highland Edition in the northwest quarter of the northeast quarter of section 33, township 94 north, range 54 west of the 5th principal meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota. Just basically platting out the farmstead buildings.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Wanda to approve the Highland plat. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Second one's a plat of lot 7 of Schulte subdivision in the south half of the southeast quarter of section 35, township 94 north, range 56 west of the 5th principal meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota. This is in the ETJ and has already been approved by the city.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Don to approve the Drossman plat. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And the last one's a plat of tract 1, Benson's Edition in the south half of the northeast quarter of section 13, township 94 north, range 56 west of the 5th principal meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota. They're basically platting out the area, the trees and everything east of the trees. And then there's another 20 plus to the west of that.
Move approval.
Motion by Dan, second by
Second.
Ryan. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
One
Thanks.
abstention.
Oh, yeah. Wanda abstained on that one. Moving right along, the James River Island purchase, David Thompson.
Hello, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you, David.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to join you tonight. I'm the acting superintendent of Missouri National Recreational River. And I've been in town about 3 months now. I've really enjoyed Yankton County, and I'm away from town helping a family member with some health issues. So that's why I'm not there in person tonight, or I absolutely would be. The park unit has been working on purchasing James Island for a couple decades now, working with the landowners. And we have reached the point where everything's in place to move forward with the purchase. Our goal with the property is to do what the National Park Service does, which is to preserve and protect it for future generations, for the enjoyment of future generations. And, in general, as far as how we plan to manage it, the first thing we'll do, which, any landowner or steward of the land would do, is to do an analysis as far as, what that land is suitable for. What we project, and I'm pretty confident in, is that it's going to be very suitable, much like Goat Island, for primitive recreation, such as primitive camping, bow hunting, fishing, waterfowl hunting, and those type things. But once again, we have to do that initial analysis and inventory that we do on everything in the National Park Service. So we're excited to get this done, and we're requesting a letter of support from the county, and be glad to answer any questions.
Do we have that letter? Gary, did you get that? So just for public's knowledge and everything else on this purchase, I did speak to the governor's office, because the state of South Dakota also has to approve this sale. So, and the state of South Dakota and Yankton County has to approve this. Did speak to the governor's office this afternoon, and the state of South Dakota is taking care of this also and approving the sale of this. So unless there's any objection or public comment at this time to object to the sale of that property, I would ask for any public comment at this time. I'm not, yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah, my name is Merlin Schmuck. I'm partners in the island with we got 6 people. And we've been trying, like you said, since over 2000. And we had some difficulties in there, let's put it that way. But we want it to go, people can enjoy it like we have for the 40 years we've owned it, or whatever it is now. And we just want it to go for other people can enjoy it and stay the same what it is. It's just a nice natural, it's I think they call it the largest freestanding cottonwood in South Dakota island, like that. So yeah, we just want it, we're getting old. We need to get so their kids don't have to worry about it and everything else, and just
Sure.
we want to give it, or not give it, but have other people enjoy it. So
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion or just
I'd
approval?
like a little, discussion before, I think that's probably the appropriate use for it. Everybody enjoy, I guess, my concern as a county commissioner, however, is now we're further eroding our tax base. Do we know how much property tax we're gonna lose? It's probably not a tremendous amount, but we will be losing some. And my next concern now is we're taking land off property tax rolls, but then what is our responsibility now for search and rescue? Because, you know, it's gonna be a tourist spot, and how do people get out there by boat, by kayak? And what happens when there's an emergency? That's on us, as how I understand, unless somebody else wants to do that. So somebody gets out there and there's an accident or a boat instance. Now it's our search and rescue and our sheriff's department committing more. You know, we're not gonna get any extra tourism dollars out of it. Only costs is the way I see that.
Maybe Mr. Smuck can tell us how much the real estate taxes are, since he's 1/6 owner of that land.
Okay.
$1,644. Okay.
But
See, not a huge loss there. We just threw away 3,900.
yeah, but my concern is sending the boat crew out there to find somebody. That's the cost I see. And we look out to the counties out West River, Lawrence County, surrounded by all the federal land. A hiker gets lost out there, it's tens of thousands of dollars to find them. And I don't know, are we fleshing out what the responsibility to Yankton County is in that, if that happens?
I'll just speak on what Dan's talking about is, I know earlier this year we had a pontoon boater that was kind of floating towards the dam, and search and rescue was called out for that. Evidently the battery had died, and so that was a lot of resources specifically for that one. I know that Paul and his team went out there, and that was just one of other many incidences, but that was just a battery issue.
Yeah. Is there anybody from the Department of Interior? Is the guy online? Is he from the Department of Interior?
David, can
Yeah,
you answer any of those questions?
I'm glad to speak to that. And so,
We can barely hear you, sir.
all right, I am going to speak up. My voice usually carries fairly well, but I'll speak up here. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we're a fairly small park unit in the big picture of the National Park Service and Department of Interior. A few years ago, we did stand up a very small law enforcement program, and we're in the current stages of assessing that program, of whether we can just, in our capacity of the smallest park as we have, to have a law enforcement program. So just recently, I've been doing a lot of research on this particular subject. It's going to be a collaboration, whether we have a couple law enforcement officers or not, to where the South Dakota Game and Parks is a very active partner up and down the river, along with Nebraska. And then, of course, Yankton County Search and Rescue is going to be, from what I understand, being here a few months, is, you know, the most well-equipped and the closest, just a few miles from this island and this area. So it would be a collaboration of all those entities. But that's where we come in as land managers with the National Park Service, and the partnership aspects of that, and making sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure it's safe for the people that are out there. And to whatever kind of agreements that need to be put in place, and so forth. So,
can we get an agreement on some sort of cost reimbursement if we're using our search and rescue there? Is that an option? I mean, I think this is a great project. I want to see it move forward. We got to be careful not to overburden, you know, our volunteer staff.
yeah, and you know, I guess I wasn't prepared to make a verbal, you know, for sure statement tonight along those lines. That's something I could look at. But I do know that, you know, we've had Goat Island for quite some time, and I haven't heard major issues related to, you know, the impacts to the county and so forth related to that. But you know, once again, what I can state is that you know, we will be a partner and we will lean into those agreements to help however we can, whether we have personnel or, you know, if it works out that we could do some kind of agreement to, you know, reimburse certain things, that's something that we could definitely explore. But
Isn't Goat Island in Nebraska? Isn't that technically in Nebraska?
no, I think it's actually on the south.
Yeah, it's on the Nebraska side. And so, I mean, you can see our point of view from the Yankton County is that we don't get sales tax from tourism. We rely almost exclusively on property tax, and we support tourism. We support all this, but you know, we got to be careful on what we do too. I would like to see some sort of agreement between us before I'm comfortable with it. Again, I want this to move forward. I think this is a great idea, but again, we can't overburden the county with this, because once it's transferred for you, it goes from, you know, not a lot of property taxes to zero.
I would make a motion to approve the resolution in support of the federal government's acquisition of the James River Island.
Okay, I have a motion by Wanda. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
And a second by Don. We already had discussion. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I mean, he said he'd be willing to look into some sort of agreement. Do we
I
wanna
get
do-
that. I
do we
understand
wanna
that.
Do that before we, I mean, are we on?
Well, we got a motion and a second.
But we're
So
in
let's
further
vote.
discussion, and does this have to be done tonight? Are we on some short timeline? I mean, once this is done, this is forever.
Not
Okay.
not that many people, as I recall, have jumped or fallen off boats in the river that we've had to
And-
rescue.
You know, and we've discussed this in the past where if our emergency managers are going out on the river to do like the boat issue with the battery, we should be sending that boat owner a bill.
That doesn't work that way.
It
This was-
should. Why doesn't it work?
This
that
was
way?
heavily discussed in 2023 on the county summer study for funding, is that there's no reimbursement mechanism. And specifically West River dealing with these federal lands, the county is on the hook. Okay, there's no reimbursement from the federal government, no reimbursement from the state. I think this is a great idea, but if there's a potential for some sort of agreement, why wouldn't we at least look into that? Because we approved this, we're saddled with it forever.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
I have one more comment.
Yep.
Just really quickly, just due to the location to some of my family's properties, I'm gonna abstain from the vote.
Okay,
See?
okay.
Well,
I have a motion and a second.
If we're gonna still approve it, can we still at least explore the option for
Oh,
some reimbursement?
Absolutely, we should go after them to see if we can get a
Who is this?
contract.
Who is this guy again? Online?
My name's
David Thompson.
Will you look into that then on some sort of agreement?
I think he's already said that he would look into that. Right, David?
Yes, I can see some kind of agreement, and pursuing, you know, looking into that for sure. And I just, I come from a partnership background, and, you know, that's a big part of managing a river that's complex with states on both sides and counties and lots of cities and so forth. And, you know, the National Park Service wants to be a partner, and I am listening strongly about all of it here, and I understand that. And we'll look at different ways that we can partner and be responsible for things. So, but like I said, tonight I wasn't planning on or had the you know, being ready to just say yes on something like that. But once again, we want to be the best partner we possibly can. I understand these issues.
And you would probably, as a park representative, you would probably support the legislature if they proposed a new law to where we could use the collection avenue that the state uses for collections on liens and titles and things like that, licensing, correct?
I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about there. Can you
And what's
elaborate?
that called?
The ORC.
The ORC Collection Agency. Anyway, I have a motion and a second. I have one abstention, Ryan, and can I get all in favor? Aye.
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 Aye, opposed, nay.
I'm gonna abstain too.
Motion carries with 2 abstentions. Thanks for your time here, David, and I will sign the appropriation as the governor of South Dakota did also today.
Excellent. Yes. And I really appreciate it. And this is a heck of a way to meet all of you. And I look forward to meeting you in person. So I appreciate everybody's time on this matter.
Certainly. Thank you. Moving on, the Herschman EJT rezoning request.
Good evening again, Chairman, honorable members, Brett Bees, Community Economic Development at the City of Yankton. Before you is a rezoning request from A1 Agriculture to B2 Highway Business in the extraterritorial jurisdiction. It's on the north side of the 1500 block of Whiting Drive, Justice and Michelle Herschman owners. While these aren't all that frequent of a request, this is your second ETJ zoning request this year, so I'm sure you're familiar with the broad strokes of the shared jurisdiction transfer in 2000. Made a condition of rezonings that the county commission get a chance to weigh in on each amendment. These rezonings, either through the map or the ordinance, are a rezoning. The city planning commission includes 2 ETJ members that attend and vote on recommendations related to the ETJ, which they did in this case. Those are Dean Christensen and Mike Welch. Your approval is required for this item to be considered to the city commission, which they'll do on September 8th if you approve the request this evening. We received no comment from the public after notice and posting the property. The Yankton City Planning Commission has recommended approval. The applicant is here this evening. If you have any questions, I'm as well happy to stand for questions.
Any questions from the commission?
Public comment?
Any public comment on this issue?
I move to approve the Herschman EJT rezoning request.
So motion by Wanda, second by Dan to approve the Herschman EJT rezoning request. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, Brad.
Kaiser Road double chip seal resolution. Mike, you want to speak on this?
Yeah. I guess, I wasn't overly involved in writing this, but, I guess, how do you want to go over this?
So we've came up with a formula basically to say that for future references, if we're going to do any major road work, double chip sealing, paving, anything like that, we have to use this formula that you see in your packet that is going to do an ROI for Yankton County within the first 5 years. So if the residents that live along that road, if they want to put money in the game to make sure that we have it after 5 years, include taking the maintenance in, to take the maintenance that it's cost us to run on the road, to service the road, not counting the winter months. If it's going to be beneficial to Yankton County to pave that or double chip seal it or chip seal that road, as long as the cost of the ROI, return on investment, is going to come back within 3 to 5 years, that's one of the things that we're going to use this formula for. In consideration with Kaiser Road and 434, the return on investment with them paying the $200 a year for 5 years being assessed on their taxes is going to provide within 3 years an ROI of negative, what's it say, 900 and some dollars within 3 years because of the maintenance expense that it took us over the last 5 years in conjunction. in 5 years, the ROI, the return on investment, is gonna net Yankton County about $30,000. So in my mind, that's a formula that we should live with. If anybody wants to, you know, if Jay wants to have 5 miles of road double chip sealed to get to his house, and he's the only one that lives along there, 5 miles is gonna roughly be $1 million.
Yeah. Write us a check, Jay.
And, you know, and we've spent $200,000 in the last 5 years to maintain that 5 miles. Okay, now he's got to write us out a check for $800,000. That's the formula that we need to look at from moving forward, I believe, to make things like what we did with Kaiser Road and 434 beneficial to Yankton County.
So the process here is we would have to have the residents along the road to agree, the property owners.
To put skin in the game.
Put
Yes.
skin in the game, and then they are going to agree to a special, and to an extra assessment.
Yes. Absolutely.
And then on top of that, we have to fill the formula of that it has to show positive gains in 5 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the reason I say 5 years is because about every 5 years, you're gonna probably put another chip seal on it to maintain it for another 5 to 10 years.
So then are they in that payment for those additional 5 years, or
No, that's gonna be maintenance, and
that's the county?
that's the county's maintenance program.
I think on our road, we're still committed.
And we're gonna look at that.
I think that might be coming up though. Cause it's only for a certain amount of years.
Your microphone
I don't-
isn't on.
And this commission wasn't involved in that project, and I don't believe that,
Well, somewhere.
I don't believe, and we can discuss this at a later date, but I don't believe that those residents should pay for maintenance on that road after the 5 years is up. So, but that's a discussion for later time.
I think they'd be happy.
I'm sure they will. But I guess I would like Rob Clement, I would like approval of this formula, if we can agree on that, so that Rob can officially write up a resolution to that.
I would move to approve that formula so that a resolution can be prepared.
Are we including the maintenance expenses during that 5-year period?
That's included in the formula, yes.
That's it.
However, the following 5 years, we're gonna chip seal it again, but the following 5 years, we won't have the extra $200
Correct.
assessment. So is the following 5 years going to be then?
We're gonna,
What do you think, Mike?
we're gonna save that maintenance by chip seal, and maybe we don't have to chip seal that road, in 5 years, but we'll save the maintenance on that road for the next 5 years.
The first 5 years will pay for itself virtually. And then after that, my recommendation is the county pays for the maintenance, because what happens if we have to go out there? I feel that we need to do an asphalt patch here and there. Mastic, whatever it be, that I feel is a better solution than just putting a Band-Aid over it.
Yeah.
If I feel we need to do a more expensive permanent repair, let's do that instead of the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Long-term is how I look at it.
The only thing I'd like to add into this is maybe a
Because
traffic count or something as well, but I think this is good because, like, look at the expense we were spending on these two roads of what you were out there with the grader 3-4 times a week versus now. And so there is a return on investment, particularly for the high traffic roads.
Yeah,
But I get your.
Yeah,
And long-term also, this is the other example. So if we get wheel running out there, the chip seals this year's 24,000 a mile. Well, micro servicing with striping was 56 this year. Well, are then people gonna wanna pay for the microsurfacing to fix the wheel rutting? Or they just wanna pay for just a chip, you know, that's where I'm going with this. I'd rather look long-term fix than just a Band-Aid over, let's save the road, you know, let's not let it go away.
Mhm.
And like I say, the formula is there.
I have one other question. I do agree with you. I think the traffic counts should be part of this formula. The other thing is the $200 assessment. Is that a fixed, or is that something that we would
Only-
have to set or
That's
change?
only fixed for Kaiser Road, and
So that would be
Fourth Road
very,
94.
that would be variable.
that's a
per
variable number.
project.
And that's why I highlighted it on the,
That's a good point. If we do this 10 years from now, that probably need to be a different number. So that's a good
Yeah,
point.
Okay.
Yep. And the maintenance is gonna vary also. If you got a road where you're sending a road grader out there only once a week or every other week, the maintenance is, that's gonna be
Yeah.
variable also.
Okay, so the scenario though, say we have fewer signatures and they say, oh, we will take this a very high assessment for 5 years to have a very nice road, but then, I mean, is there,
We have
Just
to
looking
have an
at-
ROI for whatever it's gonna cost to do that section of road within 5 years.
yeah, I'm just saying, it's like, is there a way that they can, they will contribute extraordinarily high so the ROI is there, and then afterwards they are, they don't have any new future assessments, and then we still have all the maintenance.
I think like,
Is there?
I think like
concern
Mike
for that
said,
type
you're
of thing?
gonna you're gonna have very little maintenance once that road is double chip sealed.
Okay,
And I think that's where the traffic counts would come in.
Yes.
If it's a high.
And I agree.
But that's a good point to bring up.
Sorry.
Dan's ready to go.
So this is gonna be put on the taxpayers, on their tax receipt for a
Assessment.
special assessment.
Yes.
Do we know the parcels and the names of
Yes.
everyone's that's getting it?
Yes. Yes, we do. We have signed letters by those people that accept being assessed. And Rob Clemisher has that information.
Because I have to have all this stuff for taxes by October 1st.
We approve this, you can have it tomorrow. Yeah.
We'll still be here tomorrow.
No, we won't. I got a motion by Wanda to approve this formula. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ryan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. So Rob can get the resolution put together. Okay, we want to talk about this hiring freeze resolution. Tyler, do you have some information on that?
Yes. So I drafted the resolution as the commission requested after the last meeting. It is in the packet. Subsequent research on the topic that I did over the last couple of weeks was submitted to the commission. I'm not going to go on the record on what my legal opinion was on that. However, that needs to be taken into consideration when you guys vote on this resolution, or if you vote on the resolution.
What did you say? What was the last part?
Said, please take my opinion of legal advice when you vote on this, or if you vote on this resolution.
Any discussion?
I guess I can understand hiring freeze for new positions, but I don't agree that if one of our employees, our staff members in our office happens to quit or something happens to them, that we cannot just hire someone because it is our office. And I feel that we shouldn't have to be sidelined for that.
I feel that right now, the way times are budget wise, that if a person in your office that's an existing position leaves for any reason whatsoever, the department head, elected or not, should present to the county commission why you need to replace that person. I don't feel that just because that's a person that's been in your office at present time, that that person has the right to leave for either better themselves or leave for whatever reason, that the five of us sitting up here have to report or be accountable for the taxpayers' dollars. And if you can come to us with a letter or stand up there on that podium and say, I need to replace Joe because he was a very important person and held this position and did this and did that for Yankton County. And if the five of us say we agree that you need to hire that person to replace that position, that's fine. And I don't feel that we have meetings almost every 2 weeks. You're not going to hire a replacement within those 2 weeks anyway. No, you can.
You need to go to the podium, so our at-home viewers.
And I get that. And we're talking about from moving from today forward. I know that people have already interviewed people to replace people, and that's the way it was, and it happened. And I'm just saying that from today forward, I feel that as department heads, you have the responsibility to provide to the five of us the reason why you need to replace that position. You know what? We can take those positions through the budget. We can take those positions away from you also.
So let me just,
So I don't want to get into a he said, she said. I don't want to get into an argument. That's my thought. And I don't know about the other four of the people sitting up here, if they feel the same way or not. That's just my opinion. And I'm not arguing with you. I'm not saying you can't replace someone. And I know that I know that the department heads are not here to waste money or to say, and I know it's in the handbook, whatever, that as an elected official, you can do whatever you want. But I just want everybody to understand that the five of us here also have the option when it comes to budget time, that if you have 6 people in your office and we feel that that maybe you only need 5, that's why we're elected also, to make sure that we're spending the taxpayers' dollars the way it needs to be spent. And there's not one department head in this room right now or in wherever that we have ever, or I have ever said, you're overspending. All I ask is you come to us on at a commission meeting and say, hey, we need to replace this person, and we probably will. But we have to we're the ones that have to go to the public and say, we're going to approve this.
so just, I just want some clarification. When the hiring freeze was brought up, is there a reason why it was put in place, or why it was talked about, or why is it or why are you guys looking at the hiring freeze? That's what I think a lot of us are confused, because it's especially in the sheriff's office, we have a lot of stuff going on all the time. And so to hear about the hiring freeze, I don't think we even got a direct notification. We just got to read the press and Dakotan about it. So my question, and I don't know about the rest of the elected officials or department heads, is, why is there a hiring freeze? I think that was kind of the hardest part about
You depend upon us to pay your employees.
Yes.
That's the reason. We want to be able to pay them.
And we do
Well, the taxpayers pay us.
yeah, and we go through the budget.
We have to answer to the taxpayers.
Well, so do
Have
we.
you, I know, the thing is, have we had any complaints from the public?
Yes, we do. We get
About-
voted in, just like you guys.
Mr. Chair, may I have the floor? I guess here's the position I feel. And again, respect all of you, work with all of you, want to keep working with you. Looking at our budget, we're and this is my opinion, and maybe I'm not 100%, but we're $4 million over what we're taking in. And we're proposing that budget, and that's gonna eat up almost all of our reserves. And then what happens next year?
And you know
Because we're not gonna have any money left, and we're gonna come to you and say, who do you want to lay off? Who do you want to lay off? Who do you want to lay off? Because the money's not gonna be there. And we need, and it's our job to set this budget. I don't want to have to come to you and ask you who do you want to send on down the road? This is very serious. And then you look at the state government and what's going to happen with property taxes. The county is dead center in the crosshair. I guarantee you one thing, we're not getting any help from the state. We're not going to get any help from the federal government. And so this is where I'm sitting is, are we going to take a little bit medicine now and maybe it's not so bad later? Or are we going to go another year and our budget's going to be $4.5 million over and we got $1 million in the bank? How is that going to work? That's my opinion. And it concerns me. It keeps me up at night. And I don't want us to be in a terrible position next year. We can probably do it this year. Next year is going to be a big problem if we keep on this trajectory. And it's only 6 months from now. Well, and I guess do you guys understand like how much we're $4 million over? COVID money is gone. Our revenue is 11 million. We're spending 14, almost 15. That's where we're at, and that concerns me.
So just for the sheriff's office, I'm just a quick explanation is that, so for the certified law enforcement officers, we have 14 fully certified, and that's including myself. When I ran as a campaign, I promised the Yankton County citizens that we would have 24/7, 365 coverage. We always have a physical deputy working the road. That's what I did. I only increased one extra person compared to the predecessor that had the budget. So I've only increased one extra person on there, and I increased one extra person in the jail. So just for an example, at the sheriff's office, we don't replace deputies as much as we do the jail. And I know that we talk about having me come in, just to say, hey, can I open up a position? When I hire a deputy, we do the opening up the position. We have to wait X amount of time, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Then we have to interview all those people that are a candidate for one position possibly. Then if we do have a hiring part, it almost takes 3 months for us to hire a deputy because we just don't hire anybody off the streets. They have to go through a pretty rigorous process. And a lot of times we weed people out because they may lie on an application or whatever. And so we want to do our due diligence there. So just for the deputies out of the 14 that we have, I've already have 3 gone from last year. 2 of the city of Yankton took 2 of my patrol guys. So then I have to replace.
What's a control guy?
What's that? Patrol.
Oh,
Sorry,
my bad.
patrol. And then also in the jail, I think just from last year when I submitted the 2025 budget that you guys did approve, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jailers who had already left just on this sheet from the budget proposal. There's been multiple ones in between from here until today.
So let me ask you a question. Every department head in here, let me ask you a question. If somebody leaves your employment, what does it hurt to come to us at the very next meeting? Somebody leaves your department yesterday and you come to us tonight and ask to replace that position. Why is that a big ask of us?
For me personally, it's because statute says we don't have to.
Okay, that's fine.
And
you can say statute says you don't have to, but you know what? When it comes budget time, and when we're crunching numbers here, maybe you don't need an extra person in your office, right?
And that
so we can cut the budget in your position
and that's your decision. That's what the budget
That's what I'm
process is
saying.
for.
So why is it such a big decision? Why is it such a big issue that we're asking you to come here and ask us to replace an employee. Why is that a big issue?
Well, for some people like Patty, Preston, they need to hire people. We provide a service to this community. And if we
Okay,
can't
you're
employ.
not hiring
One
anybody
at
within
a
2 weeks.
time.
I'm sorry. You're not hiring anybody within 2 weeks. Like I said, what's the big deal if even if somebody leaves your department last Friday, you come to us tonight and say, hey, Joe or Susie left, went on to a different position last Friday, okay? No, okay, Thursday. Okay, so
Preston had
Okay.
one leave over the weekend.
Yeah, I just had one yesterday. And I'm still short.
Mr. Chair,
Dan, you got.
per the advice that we got, it is in codified law that the constitutional officers can appoint, and so that is law, but that's not saying that we can't do a hiring freeze on the unelected heads. And I guess I would ask each one of you guys to look at the severity of our budget constraints this year and next year and advise us on what we can do, because here's our options is we gotta cut or increase revenue, maybe some of both. But the amount that we, 11 million coming in and the amount we have going out, the math isn't gonna work for very much longer.
And that's all I'm asking is for you guys to say, hey, let's communicate and let's work this thing out together. It's in my mind right now that what you're saying is just because the statute says that we don't have to talk to you, well, then we're not going to.
I don't think that we want to make it this way. It's, we have employees that we have to worry about the FMLA, the vacation, the training. We run 24/7, 365. We do field training. So like if I was to hire a jailer, we do an 8-week field training process because I don't want to get sued. I don't want the county to get sued.
Absolutely. So what's 2 weeks going to make
I-
difference between this meeting and next meeting?
I think there's a big difference between Preston and the jail and the Director of Equalization Office. I mean, there's a little more urgency in the sheriff's office in the jail because they have 24-hour coverage that has to be there. And I am of the understanding that there was a jailer that turned in their resignation yesterday for whatever reason. But
And,
I don't see the fact that somebody quits in the treasurer's office that they're going to be replaced within 14 days anyway. So I don't understand that.
And one example too is I have a deputy sheriff that is deployed for our country. And so I don't even have that person on the payroll for one whole year, but I got to hold the position for him. Because first of all, he's a good employee. Second of all, he's serving our country, and it's one extra position that I'm just holding on to. But when I'm falling short and I got to go back to the commission on stuff that, to me, we want to make it a fluent process. And so I'm just asking you guys, maybe what we could do is when we come in and do our quarterly reports, maybe I can come to you, even though I'm elected, and I know that there's a state statute that protects a lot of the elected officials. But maybe on the quarterly reports, we just include current employees that maybe have left and new ones that we hired.
Why don't we just then, to be fair to every employee in Yankton County, why don't we just not have a hiring freeze and call it good? I mean, it's not fair to Michelle if she's got to follow the rules on a hiring freeze and come to us in every other meeting or whenever. And Preston doesn't have to come to us.
I get that. I think
We're all one
I think-
team. We're all a team.
I think
We
the
should be-
public is going to have to figure out that if we can't fix this budget, next year we'll be cutting budget and cutting people. So somebody's going to retire and they're not going to be replaced.
I get-
Somebody's going to raise their hand or not, and we're going to say, it's you. Because everybody wants a raise. Nobody wants their taxes to go up. It's a horrible situation. Budgeting is not fun.
I think that, we're all elected, including the commission as well, is that if things arise, I think there's a good discussion, but I think we were elected, for a particular reason, and there's a lot of vision that we have, but if there is some drastic cuts down the road, that's a discussion that may need to happen, but just for the fluency of the county, there's a lot of employees, not just probably my office, but other offices as well that are just kind of wondering, will I have a job next year in their current employee?
That's what we want to make sure that everybody continues having jobs.
Yeah, but we also still have to keep the offices running in the meantime.
Well, the difference is your office runs 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
The Director of Equalization office does not run 24 hours a day. The Treasurer's office doesn't run 24 hours a day.
Okay.
But like in Patty's defense, I went down to pay for my tags, and I was just in the building and I saw that there was no line, and I went home and I came in, there was like 7 people, and I had 4 of my kids with me. So it was entertainment for her office, but they were backed up, and yeah, it wasn't very fun for me, obviously, but.
I don't think we would want to argue or do anything like that. We're just expressing our feelings, and of course, everything it comes down to you guys, but we just want to come and express our feelings is all. And do what you,
And we
you can do what
appreciate,
you want.
and we appreciate that.
And we had no problem, like maybe when we do the quarterly reports, we come to you guys. I know when new employees come through, you guys have to sign the sheets anyways at the meetings. But maybe in a public setting, we can come to you guys on the quarterly nights that we're here and say, these are new employees that we have, so you guys are aware of who we're hiring. And
okay.
Yeah. And
Any further discussion
Yeah,
amongst
I
the
just-
commissions?
again, the neighboring county, Bonhomme, they just got rid of 3 full-time people out of 10. And we don't want to be in that position next year, so please work with us. Let's work together again as a team.
Yeah.
So.
no, I agree with you guys. And Turner County, their sheriff's office, they're doing like hiring bonuses because they kind of got in some
Yeah.
issues with the hiring stuff. So I don't want it to come to that. And like I said, maybe during the quarterly reports, we come in and we can definitely dial it up for you.
Okay. Can I get a motion on the resolution, the hiring freeze resolution?
I don't think we can
If
approve.
not, I have no motion for discussion on another day, I guess, but let's move on. 4-H program coordinator, Ryan.
Okay, so I did hand out before the meeting to you guys. This is from the SDSU. This is, as they describe it, option X is what we've been operating under for the last few years. And this is their, for the most part, their description for the job position. And it does cover both the positions that we did have. So it does adequately combine the position we used, the 2 positions we had in the extension. We are only going to have 1 person. So we're reducing staff by 1.
Did you send me those?
Oh, no, I didn't have, sorry.
See, everybody forgets about me.
She's the most important one.
No, we haven't okayed them yet.
Anyway, I did discuss this with the 4-H leaders. They were happy with the descriptions. I also discussed, got kind of some information background on SDSU, what they paid their educators, which is about, they start their educators at $22.98 an hour. And they have moved that to an hourly wage with a pre-approved 60 hours of overtime for the summer, because that's usually the highest work hours. I'm not entirely sure that'd be some analysis to do if having an hourly full-time person would be more cost effective. Because there is a lot of hours in the summer, less hours in the winter. That is something to possibly look into as a hire. So, but I would like to start advertising this because the program right now is in a lot of flux. The leaders are worried that, with the lack of support that the whole program in the county will suffer. To give you numbers, 2024 numbers were up 10%. Yankton County has 10% of all 4-Hers enrolled in South Dakota. We're actually much stronger than people think.
10%
10%
of
all 4-Hers enrolled in South Dakota are in Yankton County.
are in Yankton County.
Yeah, in 2024. So we don't have
So
2025.
we have what, 50,
We have 125.
125, so
And
there's
there's
only 1,200 in the whole state in the
Yeah.
program. Yeah, it's
just
Did-
under
Didn't
1,200.
that lady in Meade County say she had over 1,000 when we were out there for WR?
Now,
I'm
that's
thinking
just
that-
the enrolled 4-Hers that are doing the full year
Oh.
program.
Okay.
Now, for Yankton County,
Mhm.
the number of youth that they serve in their program is over 1,000. And, that, so it does, the program is much bigger than just the enrolled 4-Hers.
They do a lot of good.
And it is something that is a county-wide program. And it's not just a city-centered, it is covering. We actually have a lot more participation outside of the city. And so this is something where, we are benefiting our small communities.
I know they did a good job at the fair when I stopped by, and my brother helps with the 4-H shooting sports, and it's a very good program, and I appreciate, what Ryan has done. I guess I want to keep 4-H going, but I would have maybe an alternative idea. Instead of hiring a full-time person, I'd like to see what we did with the soil conservation and maybe just grant funds to 4-H and they can distribute it and hire it. I'm looking at the bills here. We got to pay a little later. There's almost 20 staff members that look like they hired for the 4-H.
That was for the fair.
Yeah. I guess I would like to go that route, and I understand your position, Ryan. I would like to see it where the 4-H we would grant them and then they have their person or maybe multiple people, because, it is really busy in the summer and it's usually busy most of the year, but there are times it's not. What would the rest of the commission think about that? Because a full-time person at what, $22, what is that, 40-some thousand dollars a year, plus benefits, plus retirement, plus vacation, it's about double that. So we're looking at some big bucks there.
We pay less than what this SDSU do.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
also concerned that
Mhm.
when you put the requirement of having an employee onto
Mm-hmm.
a group like the 4-H leaders, which currently has no employees, no
Mhm.
full-time employees, no part-time employees. They have people that they've paid in their
Yeah.
to help with the fair, but that's
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
The cost of providing benefits for that employee or any other things, requirements of, social security and everything else is going to be a much higher burden for them versus
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
the county, where we already have the infrastructure to handle all those benefits and handle
Yeah.
those things. So we could go that route, but I got a feeling that it's going to be a severe reduction in service. And we would be also then the only county in the state in this position.
Yeah. I think there are quite a few that have like part-time or, and I got a list here, but I won't go through it right now. But when the soil conservation people took over, it seemed like they didn't have an issue. I talked to one of their board members. They thought it was great. And what about, 2 part-time people? And what concerns me is, again, the benefits and the time off and all of that. What about something like that? I guess let's explore some different, like two part-time people. What about that? That'd probably still be less than 1 full-time person.
So you would have a part-time, you would move to have a part-time educator and a part-time assistant.
I was just looking through employees by department from the state, and I'm seeing a lot of counties have part-time staff for 4-H. Even like Davison County, according to this list, has one part-time person. And even some of the big counties, Lincoln County, one of the, biggest counties for population, only has a couple people, and And Minnehaha, the biggest county in the state, has one person in 4-H. So, you know, it's again, with our budget constraints, you know, we gotta start
let's-
somewhere.
Let's move on, but my thought process would be that I would not have a problem hiring an extension and 4-H person, either full-time or part-time, but they would have to be in this facility, in an office in this facility, and we give the 4-H people that building back
I
to
would,
maintain.
I would like to disassociate those two discussions. Those are two different discussions, I think.
Well,
I think one has to go along with the
I-
other. We don't need that building.
I'm not gonna try to, I don't think it's okay to use these things for like leverage and things.
It's not leverage. We just don't need the building.
There's more than just swapping out. So I think this could happen. You could give it back to the building. You could have them move down here, but that's a whole nother discussion that you have to make sure that all the requirements are met. One of the things was, you know, that is happening. I think that can happen in the future. It's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tonight. It's good, but we do have now a program that is just left in the wind without any direction.
I guess I'd like to vote on whether we hire a person or do a grant, I guess, unless you want to, what would be the process? Would we approve this and then try to hire somebody, or, because I think we need to figure out what we're exactly hiring for, full-time, part-time, letting them do it.
The new, position, and then a motion to advertise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I would make a motion and propose that, instead of hiring an employee, we just give the 4-H board a grant. And I don't know if we could if we want to put a dollar amount on that now.
Not tonight.
But I think that's the way to go due to our budgetary constraints. Again, support 4-H. They do a great job. My brother's involved in it. Excellent. It's just, I don't think we're going to be able to fund our mandatory responsibilities.
We got a motion to do a grant to the 4-H group
In lieu of
board
an employee.
for the purpose of hiring an employee.
And,
In lieu of
and get
hiring.
rid of the building.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Don?
I said, and get rid of the building.
Is it a joint
Is that gotta be
motion or
part-
two
that's gotta be
motions?
part of your motion, Dan, if you approve that.
If that's Don's motion, I guess I can second that.
So I have a motion by Don.
Dan, you made a motion first. What are you gonna do with that?
He,
Hey, let's vote, let's
You wanna
go
do a
back and
substitute?
vote on Dan's motion.
okay. I guess my motion was in lieu of hiring a full-time employee, that we still support 4-H by giving them a grant.
Second.
I have a motion by Dan, second by Don, to do a grant to the 4-H board program in lieu of hiring an employee for the county. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Let's do a voice vote. Patty, please.
Dan,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Wanda,
Yes.
Brian,
No.
John.
No.
Yeah, I'd make a motion that we,
Well, you gotta finish that.
Well, I think we should probably put that on the agenda, probably.
I motion carries to do a grant to the 4-H board for in lieu of hiring an employee with the county as a county employee. 3-2, right? Motion carries.
I move to approve the August 5, 2025 minutes.
I'd like to make a motion before you do that, Wanda.
I think,
I
I think we have to put that on the agenda for next time.
I do think we'd have to have that on the agenda.
Yeah, because you can't make a motion, it's not on.
Yeah, this was just for a coordinator, so we'll put that on the agenda for next week.
So I reiterate my motion to approve the August 5, 2025 minutes.
Got a motion by Wanda. Can you get a second?
Second.
Second by Dan to approve the August 5, 2025 minutes. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
I move to approve claims.
Got a motion by Wanda to approve
Second.
claims, second by Don. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. A motion to approve the July 2025 Treasurer Auditor Report and pooled cash.
So
I,
moved. So moved.
second.
Motion by Dan, second by Wanda to approve the Treasurer's Auditor Report and pooled cash. All in favor, aye.
Aye. I move to approve unanticipated revenue by the sheriff's office.
Second.
Motion by Wanda, second by Dan to approve the unanticipated revenue from the Sheriff's Department. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
I'd move to approve budgeted cash transfer OEM.
What is this for?
Office of Emergency Management is in the budget
What is this for?
for emergency management to transfer cash into the fund.
I think,
It's a budgeted cash
I
transfer. It's already
think-
in the budget.
I think we need to have an understanding of what a budget is. A budget is not something that guarantees that you can go out and spend money. Just to spend money. Or to spend money on what you applied to. And
This is a budgeted cash transfer and you approved this budget last year for this year.
doesn't make any difference, Patty. We have to look at it under the situations that we're under now. Now, in connection with that, and before we go on to vote on it, my suggestion would be that since there's a vast difference in opinion of what the cash flow of this county is, I would suggest that we have Patty and Patty present a financial presentation on the 2026 budget to the county commission within the next 2 weeks. And maybe there's a huge misunderstanding on where we're at, or maybe we're not missing it, but I think we need to get all on the same boat. Okay, I'll tell you what I want. Last night I went to the city commission's budget meeting, and they made a presentation on their budget. And they went through items, and there were about 3 questions or 4 questions, not a lot of questions. And they too are under the kind of the same situation that we are. They're paying for this year's 2026's expenses with carryover funds from last year. And that's how the budget's been. And that is not how you budget. Unless you're forced into it. And I don't think we're forced into it until we looked at everything. So my proposal would be, let's, the 2 ladies that understand and work with finances of the county, have them get together, give us a presentation on the budget, where it's at, where it'll be in 6 months, the end of the year, and where it'll be in the end of 26. And maybe I for one that's missing the whole point. But just because we got money in savings or in some other account doesn't mean we're paying our expenses on a budgeted basis. And budgets are just a guideline. There's no guarantee that you can spend the money.
If you, in that case, if you wanna, like I said, this is already in the budget. The OEM account is in the red. cash from the general fund supplements this fund along with the highway department. If you do not want to do that anymore, then, I honestly don't know what because it's a balanced budget
No, it's not.
compared to
You
what
take, you
the,
take
to what
total,
the
total
state,
expenses minus total income and you come out negative.
well, the county is one unit and the county is there not to make money. The county is there to serve the people of Yankton County. And we're not supposed to make money or find ways to make money. That's not.
Well, I don't know where you would have gotten that, but that's, we have to make money in order to operate. That's the way government should be working. So that's my motion. And
So
hopefully the two baddies will have an answer that's, we can go right on ahead and everything will be fine. We just keep spending.
So I guess I had made a motion to approve the budgeted cash transfer for the Office of Emergency Management. I don't know that there was a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I got a motion by Wanda, second by Ryan to approve the budgeted cash
Is
transfer.
that adding 240,000? Is that what we're doing from the general fund?
Did you look at the end balance of the full cash report? There is a minus. This will put money in there from the general fund.
And that's the way it's planned. As I understand it, Patty.
Yes.
That's the way,
It's budgeted that way.
that's the way it's budgeted and planned.
And just like if you look at the 26 budget, it is the same thing.
Patty, is there any way we could, when we budget for emergency management, we could do that different so that so we aren't cash transferring in?
No, because
That's
he's in a special fund and same with the highway.
Maybe we could do bills for all the search and rescues for the drowned
I-
people at the island.
I think we're gonna need to start doing that.
Well, I think.
I have a motion and a second.
I want to say one more thing, John. I think we definitely have to do a reexamination or an examination where all of us are involved and come to the consensus of where we're at on this budget and spending. The only thing I can determine is we're way short. Now, we may be able to pay the bills for a year, but that doesn't mean we're doing the right thing.
So I think we had talked about having another budget meeting before.
Yes, the state auditor is going to come down.
Yep.
Okay.
Have they picked a date?
No, I tried to get a date from you guys and nobody sent me a date.
Let's do that at commissioner update, set a date.
Okay. Okay, so now can I call for a roll? All in favor, aye for the budgeted cash transfer.
Aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now's the time for public comment. Anybody here want to speak? Seeing no, up.
Or we'll take that check anytime, Jay.
Yeah, I wish. I got a nice oil road in front of my house. Anyway, Jay Cutts, Mission Hill. Listening to the discussion here tonight on employees and such like that tonight kind of disturbs me a little. The county residents have to understand that you five are in charge of the budget. You five are the only ones that set the budget. Now, if the rest of the elected officials, other department heads want to whine and cry, that's perfectly fine. But you guys are in charge of the budget. And that means if we don't have the money, you're going to take the heat no matter what, and not the other elected officials, which kind of sucks, but that's your job and that's what you guys signed up for. Now, in my situation, I'd rather see you say, okay, if we don't have the money, let's do an across the board cut of 15%, 20%, 25%, whatever it takes to balance that budget. That'd be the fairest way to do a balanced budget. And that would be my suggestion to you. That way nobody can cry. They have to set their own budget the way they want. And if it's 15 or 20% less, it's the way it goes. have to do it all the time in my position, so have at it. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thanks, Jay. Anyone else for public comment? Public comment is closed. Commissioner updates?
Is this when we're gonna pick the date?
We certainly can.
Let's have at it. I pick,
I think we gotta give,
In the morning.
we gotta give the two patties a period of time to,
well, we need to know how late.
When's the deadline for September?
You're approving the budget
On
September 16th.
16?
So how about Friday, the 5th?
We do it sooner? Could we do it next week?
I can't do it next week. You all can do it without me.
Friday the 5th?
We need you
September.
there. Yep, I can do that. What time?
She said it can't be in the morning, so I
4
guess
o'clock.
it has to be in the afternoon.
4 o'clock.
make
Friday?
two cup patty.
The state, I'm having
Well, we-
the state.
How about
auditor
noon?
come.
How about noon?
Well, how about 1-ish? Was that
1-ish.
enough time
One-
for them to get
1
here?
o'clock.
1 o'clock?
How's that work with you, Brian?
On the 5th,
Yeah.
I'm looking.
1 o'clock. Let's give Patty another
See,
another date too.
Well,
I'll check and
That
see
can
what
work.
date you want.
How about the board?
I
I can't do it. It's felony court day.
You can't do it
I-
either.
I'll be
can do
spending
it
my
on-
day
I
with
could do it
Tyler.
on the
Patty.
4th.
Would it
I
be
could do, what about the
possible To
3rd?
join by teams, if it's too much for them to travel all the way
He
here?
doesn't like doing
Oh,
that. He likes to be here
Or this,
okay.
playing.
He's coming
what
from
about
here. He should
the
be
week
able
of
to
the
be here.
25th through the 29th?
Well, he's auditing. me.
As I said, you can do it without me. I cannot do it next week, any day, 0 days.
That's a bad week for me as well.
Okay,
Let's try the 5th,
I'll check with them the 5th and
Okay.
see. At what time you said?
whatever time he wants. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
I'll call
It,
tomorrow
it,
and check with them.
it shouldn't take over an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Any other commissioner updates?
now we got, state convention 7th, 8th and 9th. Yep.
Oh, I know they're Monday and Tuesday, or did they change?
And,
It's always been Monday and Tuesday.
When?
No.
8th and 9th.
I've got rooms for
7th,
the
8th, and
7th
9th.
and the 8th.
yep. And yeah, just again, a little on the, I just think, I'm glad we're setting up another, meeting and we just gotta, explore all options. I got some stuff written down, but I won't go over that tonight because it'll take too long, so.
Okay. Need a motion to move into executive session?
I'd move to go into
I
it.
attended, last night's, budget meeting at the city, commission. And, according to their report, they're stressed too. They have, an issue of balancing their payments this year with the use of previous year's carryover funds, which means in a year or so, they're gonna be kind of in the same place that we are.
According to the newspaper, they made an extra $600,000 payment on debt.
I don't know.
I read it in the minutes of the city commission, so they must have 600,000 available.
That was for the
That-
pool.
that-
That was
that's for this
600,000
year.
was on the pool.
That's for this year's money, Wanda. That's for 2025's budget. I'm talking about 2026.
And Don, to your point, you know, every county across the state, every city is under, in some cases, worse than us. Like I said, our next door neighbor, Bon Home, laid off 3 people out of a staff of 40. And,
Who'd they lay off?
well, they got rid of their emergency manager and at least 2 other people.
And their veteran service officer.
Well, yeah, and so, you know, those are the types of things, I'm glad we're having these conversations now, because the last thing we want to do is be in that position, so. Motion to go into executive session.
Motion by Dan, second by
Second.
Wanda to move into executive session. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And to go back into regular session.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Wanda to move back into regular session. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
I would move to approve county welfare burial number 2503002 in the amount of $1,250.
Got a motion by Wanda to approve the
Second.
burial. Got a second by Dan. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion to adjourn by Wanda, second by Don. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Man, look at this.
They got melted.